Welcome back to Cable Nation, and today I'm going to be explaining what does zero gapping means and how to zero gap your trimmers. Stay tuned. What is zero gap? Today I'm going to be explaining what does zero gapping means. Zero gapping is a common term used during barbering to explain how sharp a clipper or trimmer blade is. When cutting hair, there's always two blades used while cutting hair. The first blade is the cutting blade, and the second blade is the guard blade. Now, the guard blade doesn't actually cut the hair, but the cutting blade actually cut the hair and can be sharp or dangerous. Zero gapping is how closely aligned can you get the guard blade and the cutting blade together without the cutting blade overlapping the guard blade. It's called guard blade for a reason, because it guards the cutting blade from actually cutting you. It just get as closely as possible where it doesn't cut you. That's what zero gapping means. Now, to give you guys a closer look, I'll be showing you what exactly am I talking about. So first, I'm going to be opening up the blade and showing you guys exactly what I'm talking about. As mentioned before, every clipper or trimmer got two blades. And if you can see, this side is the guard blade and this side is the cutting blade. And so, as I mentioned before, this blade doesn't actually cut the hair. The golden blade that you see right here doesn't actually cut the hair. But now this black blade does the cutting. It actually will cut the hair. As I was saying before, the guard blade always must overlap. It must overlap the cutting blade. As you can see, if you look very closely, there's a fine line between the cutting blade, which is the black blade, with the gold blade, which is the guard blade. There's always going to be a fine line between it, because if this blade is over the guard blade, you will cut your clients and you'll cut yourself. Now, before I show you guys how to zero gap your clippers, especially if you got the Babyliss Pro clippers, first I'll show you the tools that you'll need. Obviously, you're going to need a blade or a trimmer, and then you also will need the tool that your blade or trimmer comes with. Sometimes with certain clippers or trimmers, you'll need a screwdriver. So let's get into zero gapping your trimmers. First thing first, I'm going to take off this clipper guard. When it comes to zero gapping your clippers or trimmers, especially with trimmers, if they are zero gap perfectly how the way you want it, you tend to not want to mess it up. So this is why I'm going to be using this blade as a model for my video. So first thing first, we'll move this out the way, and you want to grab your tool, your zero gapping tool. Take it out. First thing first, you're going to want to unscrew both sides. But you don't want to fully unscrew it. You just want to loosen it up so you could be able to adjust the cutting blade. Another thing that I want to point out is that you could also zero gap your blade while it's connected to the trimmer. But because the blade is already separate, I'm going to be doing it this way. So like as mentioned before, you want to loosen up the screws. Right here, I'm loosening up the screws, but I'm not loosening it completely where the blades will fall off. Just enough. Okay. Okay, as you can see right here, you should be able to move the cutting blade. You should be able to slide around. And this is key to getting your clipper or your trimmer completely zero gap. But I recommend leaving a little bit of space just so you don't cut your clients or yourself. Another thing with your zero gap tool, you could place it directly onto your trimmer blade, and this will help you align the blade easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that. I'm gonna slide this as up as possible, even though the black blade is over the gold cutting blade, as you can see right here. It's to help me get a better, make sure it comes out perfect. So it's something that I like to do now that the screw is loose and I got the zero gap tool on here. I would like to put my blade head down and push down until you hear like a snap. Cutting blade and the guard blade should be perfectly aligned right here. And I just want to keep the pressure but lean it down. If you can notice, it should be perfectly aligned with a little bit of space left. And you want to eyeball it. And if you're satisfied that the cutting blade is not overlapping the guard blade, you could finally tighten your screws down. And to tighten it, you do the opposite of what you did earlier. And now you could take off the zero gap tool. And now if you look closely, you should be able to see that your trimmers are perfectly zero gap and the cutting blade is not overlapping the guard blade. And you could make sure that by looking on the other side, and you don't see no black peeping out the other side, which is perfect. Now for me, because these blades are my old blades, if you notice, I have a chip right here on my trimmer blade, and that's just for having it for a little while. It just happened to chip. So I gotta be a brand new blade. So I don't use this blade. And this is exactly why I got this trimmer. But because this trimmer is perfectly aligned and perfectly zero gap for me, I don't tend to mess around with it because it's already perfect for me. No point of it. But I was just trying to show you guys how to zero gap your clippers or your trimmers and what exactly does zero gapping means. Okay, this will be it for my video. If you liked the video, please subscribe and stay tuned for more videos just like this. This is Cable Nation. I'm out.